Whatever, YouTube. This gonna be little tidbit story time or whatever. Why I joined the Navy. So I joined the Navy in 2002, and it was because honestly, at that point, it was just on some job security shit, you know. Me and two of my homeboys were working at the same plant for about almost 2 years at the time, and word started getting around in the plant that they were going to start this massive layoff because I guess the business was taking a dive at the moment. You know what I'm saying? We worked in a fiber optic, manufacturing plant, making cables and shit that you see on phone lines, underground type shit. And it was a good job, especially for a 24-year-old with no kids yet, no real responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? So, in my eyes, we was living life at the time. Young, having fun. Had a decent job in the area we were in. But when them layoffs came on, plant had a big meeting with all the shifts. It was like, look, we're about to take a major hit. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to lay a lot of people off. And they gave us the choice between trying to ride it out or taking a severance package and going about our way. And leading up to that, me and my buddies, I don't know how we got on the conversation really, but somehow we got on the conversation of, hey, joining the military. And it's like, hey man, join the military, man, that's 4 or 5 years job security right there. You know what I'm saying? You got a job. Unless you do some foul shit and like really fuck up, you know what I'm saying? Because the military ain't just gonna kick you out just, for some silly shit. You gotta really fuck up. So we thought about it, talked about it here and there over the, course of a few months. And then when the layoff finally like came around, it was like, hey man, let's do this. You know what I'm saying? So we took our severance. Started. We went and talked to the recruiters. Joined the delayed entry program or whatever. You know what I'm saying? We didn't go immediately, but you know what I'm saying? Went on. Unemployment, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get jobs here and there, whatever. We didn't get nothing. It was what it was. We still had a severance package or whatever. And by the time by the time we came around, we was all trying to go together at the same time. But only me and my boy Fox were able to go first. Cause my man Al had a medical issue with his knee. He had to get checked out first. So he was maybe 3 weeks behind us. So we all joined up, delayed entry and all that. January 2002 comes up. I think it was January 9th. Me and Fox get on the plane to Chicago. Because at this point, I think the Navy had, back in the 80s, the Navy had, I believe, they had 2 separate places where you could go to boot camp. I think one was Great Lakes, where we ended up going, which is right outside Chicago. I think the other one used to be in Florida. But by the time we joined, I think they had shut that one down. So we get off plane, load up, go to the USO in the airport, waiting for everybody to get rounded up, and it's cold as hell. Remember, this is Chicago in January. It's mad. It's brick outside. Mad brick. I mean, ice on the ground, all that. You know what I'm saying? So we get off. We get off the plane, head to the USO and all that. They get all the new recruits rounded up to USO, throw our asses on the bus, and we don't know what the hell's going on. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what to expect. So we get off the as soon as we get off the bus, they start in, all the yelling, screaming, get over here, blah blah blah, this and that. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like what you see in some movies, but not as exaggerated. You know what I'm saying? It don't be like that crazy. At least for the Navy. Maybe for the Marines and the Army, it's like that. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But they huddle us all up, this and that, load us into I guess, I don't know, whatever the processing building. You know what I'm saying? Going all through the damn gauntlet. We getting. I can't remember what happened first. I think the first thing they did was they sit all of y'all in the barber chair. Now, granted, a couple weeks before we ship out, I got a fro, giant ass red fro. You know what I'm saying? But I cut my shit off like a week before that, so I'm like, I already know they're gonna cut our hair, so let me just go ahead and get this shit over with. But, in the military, everything is attention to detail and protocol. So, even though I got a buzz, like I'm straight bald, razor, not razor sharp, but, clippers. I done took all my shit off. They still sit me in the chair. They still sit everybody in the chair, you know what I'm saying? Because I knew that was coming. I just went and did it anyway. But I'm looking around like, I cut my hair already. Why I got to sit in the chair? But I ain't saying nothing. I'm just, going with the flow, following directions and shit. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, we got a few cats that came with the fro. My man D Jones from Baltimore, yo. I remember this to this day. My man was hurt. He came with his fro. Man was looking like Method Man, for real. They sit him down in the chair, and your man got mad attitude, like he pissed off, and I'm looking around like, bro, you signed up for this. You knew this was gonna happen. You had to know this was gonna happen. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? We get through that, all the haircuts and all that. Then they send you through to get your Smurfs. Well, basically it's blue sweats, top and bottom, with the naval crest emblem and all that. It says Navy on them. But they're affectionately called Smurfs. And once you get your Smurfs, you are in what they call P days. Basically, I guess the P days means processing days. And that is the only article of clothing you have while you're in them P days. You know what I'm saying? That's all you got to wear, because they take all your clothes you come with. Whatever you show up with, they take all your shit, bag it up, and it's in a locker somewhere until you graduate boot camp. You know what I'm saying? You in these sweats until you're out of the processing days. Now, processing days, the P days, it can last anywhere from 2 days to 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Just depending on, I guess, the availability of different barracks, stuff like that. So I think our division was in, we were in P days for like 3 days. And in the meantime, you basically, they have you in these like intermediate barracks. So it's, for lack of better words, like a holding cell, but it's a holding dormitory. You know what I'm saying? And you still going through, you going through all your medical screenings and stuff like that, and like basic knowledge. And like literally, it's basically a holding tank, until you can get processed out and into your actual barracks and uh, classified as a division. And division can be anywhere, I guess, between 100, 120 people, and they got all male divisions. Then they have co-ed divisions with male and female. So you go through the P days and get classed up, you get your division. Then once you get in your divisions, you meet your RDCs, which is recruit division commanders. For Marines or Army, it's drill sergeants or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So once you meet them, then you like, oh, okay. And I gotta admit, I'm biased obviously, but our division 118 in ship 5, I believe. They called all the barracks ships, like big ass dormitories, whatever. We were in ship 5, which I think was named the USS Nebraska, I believe. But I think we had some of the coolest RDCs because we had one RDC who was a straight up, straight laced, no bullshit, but still cool as hell. You know what I'm saying? And 2 younger RDCs who was still about their business, but you know what I'm saying? They were more, I guess, especially the youngest one, who was literally the same age as my older brother. So it was. I'm not gonna say it was hard to take him seriously because we were all there for business. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect or nothing like that, but it was. That's kind of how I looked at him. You know what I'm saying? I still treated him with respect. He treated me with respect and all that, but it was cool, you know what I'm saying? Because I saw how some other divisions, RDCs were, and I was like, damn, I'm glad we ain't got them, They just some squared, hard ass, like, nah, I ain't want to deal with them. Even though Oz was tough too, you know what I'm saying? Oz didn't play no shit. They did not play no games at all. You know what I'm saying? Especially if someone in the division fucked up. And then we all ended up paying for it, you know what I'm saying? But it was cool, you know what I'm saying? And our boot camp was only 9.5 weeks. And that's it, compared to like Marines. Marines have like 3 separate, they go through like basic training first, then they have like a MCT, I believe. I can't remember the exact name, but it's like 3 separate intervals within like boot camp. You know what I'm saying? And boot camp was cool enough. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the hardest thing for me in boot camp was waking up early because I'm not a morning person, and we used to get our ass up early. I mean, crack of dawn, 0 dark 30, all that shit, whatever you want to call it, and that shit sucked ass. I couldn't stand that shit. But it's what it is. Like that's what you go to the military for. Structure, discipline, routine, all that shit. And that's the whole basis of boot camp, is to basically break you down to build you up, to work as a unit. You know what I'm saying? And along the lines, you can start seeing how it changes, because it goes from a bunch of people who don't know each other, from all different backgrounds, races, areas, ages. It goes from that to y'all working as a unit, you know what I'm saying? But you got some hiccups and roadblocks along the way, because you got people who stuck in their own ways, people trying to be rebellious, you know what I'm saying? Thinking that they something they really not, you know what I'm saying? So, but a lot of it stems from, once you get into this, it's us against the RDCs type of mentality, that's when you start seeing the division mesh and start working together, because it's like all of y'all are so pissed off at the RDCs because of whatever they getting on you, you know what I'm saying, being hard on your ass or whatever. You start pulling into each other and working together and start, you get that mentality to like, fuck them, it's us. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's by design. You know what I mean? Like if the RDCs do their job, I think that's by design. Because that's the whole point of being in the military, is working as a unit to accomplish a goal. You know what I'm saying? So you see that going through, and I was 25 when I joined. So I had a little bit of life experience, some college, this and that, And my boy was 2 years older than me, and we actually were in the same division. So that was also a plus for me. That was cool, because I'm coming into boot camp with a dude I've known for years already. You know what I'm saying? I don't went to college with this dude, lived with him as a roommate, played ball together. So that's my dude, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of the cats didn't know that for like the first few days or couple of days, you know what I'm saying? Because my man Fox is a big dude, you know what I'm saying? Big. He basically looked like Michael Clark Duncan from the Green Mile, you know what I'm saying? Just a little shorter. So he already has an intimidating presence. Dudes is like, yo, man, shit. That's a big ass dude, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't piss him off, whatever. And then once, they see me talking shit to him or whatever, back and forth, they like, yo, you know him? I'm like, yeah, that's my man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all good, man. They're like, yo, is he? I'm like, man, he cool, man. Chill out. You know what I'm saying? It's just because we had a lot of really young dudes in our division. Like a lot of dudes who were 18 or 17 and had to get signed in to the Navy by their parents because they weren't 18 yet, but they were still eligible to join the military. So, other than having to get up early all the time, like boot camp was really, I ain't gonna say it was a breeze. I'm not gonna say that, but compared to what I've heard from basic training in the Army and the Marines, from cats that I met in my time in the military and people that I know personally who were in the military, Navy boot camp is a breeze compared to that shit, And I ain't even gonna speak on the Air Force because I know some people that were in the Air Force and it's like between the branches, the Air Force kind of gets picked on a lot, They nickname them the Chair Force and all that because apparently for the Air Force everything is fucking easy, you know what I'm saying, or easier. So, like I said, I can't speak on that firsthand because I wasn't in the Air Force, you know what I'm saying. So, it is what it is. Because actually, I was very close to being a Marine before I even joined the Navy, because my first year of college. Well, I can't even say it was my first year. My first semester of college, I was put on academic suspension during my Christmas break because my grades were so shitty at that point. So I was pretty much told to stay home until the next school year. And during that time, you know what I'm saying? Needless to say, my parents were pissed off, you know what I'm saying? And Pops was like, look, your ass gonna get a job or you going to the military. Okay. I attempted for a few jobs here and there, but I actually went and talked to some Marine recruiters back in the Bronx when I was home, and just to see what it might be about. And needless to say, it was cool talking to them, but after our conversation, I was like, yo, these cats is wound up a little too tight for me. I can't. I was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? The dress uniform is cool and all that, you know what I'm saying? Because the Marines got the illest dress uniforms, That's hands down to me. But I was like, that's cool and all, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know about that. I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy personally, you know what I'm saying? I'm not really keen on all the marching and digging ditches and soldiering and all that. I was like, man, shit, I'm better off just, hey, put my ass on a boat somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Not even knowing if I would get seasick or not, because I'd never been on like a real ship, boat, anything like out in the ocean. So I didn't even know if I would get seasick. But luckily, when I signed up to be an aviation electrician's mate. So if you're in the aviation field, 9 times out of 10, you're getting put on an aircraft carrier, which is a floating city, literally. You got a crew of 5 to 5,600 people on the ship. You know what I'm saying? You don't feel it when, the ship is so big, you don't feel waves and stuff like that. Unless you're in really, really rough seas. Like if you're in like the middle of a hurricane or something like that, the ship might move a little bit here and there, but not like if you on a frigate or a destroyer, which is exponentially smaller than a aircraft carrier. Them ships get kind of thrown around by rogue waves and stuff like that. So I was cool. I was like, oh shit, we on a carrier, you know what I'm saying? And growing up in New York, I had been to the USS Intrepid Museum a few times, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of had a grasp of like how big an aircraft carrier could be, even though, the Intrepid is probably still a lot smaller than the aircraft carriers we have now, and even when I joined, So it was cool, you know what I'm saying? Like my naval experience was personally, my naval experience was cool to me. Even though I was only in for 5 years, from '02 to '07. I probably should have stayed in a little bit longer, but like at the time, I was kind of making selfish decisions. I kind of wanted to go to a certain base and to a certain job, but it was kind of seeming to me that they really didn't want me to go that route. But because when I was there at the time, when you was trying to get orders to a new base or whatever, you could strike for a job that was one grade above your pay grade or one grade below. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to go to Naval Air Station Oceana in Virginia, but it seemed like they were leaning towards like making me kind of go to Norfolk. I didn't want to go to Norfolk because that's like our biggest. I believe Norfolk is our biggest naval base in the world. You know what I mean? I just didn't want to go there. I mean, to be honest, I just didn't want to go there. But I did know I wanted to leave California because I was stationed in California, NAS Lemoore, about 45 minutes south of Fresno, California. Basically in the middle of nowhere, you know what I mean? Like other than Fresno, and I think the next closest like bigger town was Bakersfield. And Bakersfield, I don't even really think is really that big. So, but Lemoore was pretty much dead in the middle of the Bay Area and LA. So it was 3 hours, give or take, in either direction from our base in Lemoore to get to LA or to get to the Bay Area, San Fran, San Jose, all that. Oakland, you know what I mean? But I was wanting to come back to the East Coast, you know what I'm saying? Because by the time I got out, a lot of the dudes that I knew and were cool with that were on Lemoore started getting their orders and going other places and this and that. But it was cool being in Lemoore because, one, my other homeboy Al, who joined a couple weeks after us because he had the medical, condition with his knee. He got stationed there as well, and probably 5 to 6 dudes that I was in boot camp with and in A school with in Pensacola, Florida, we all got stationed out there. So it's like I already, by the time I got to base, I already knew a little over a handful of people like that I actually knew and went to class with and stuff like that. So I had already built in like community of people I knew on my base. So it was love, you know what I'm saying? It was mad cool. And we were all in the same field. We were all in aviation. So, we all had similar backgrounds. But like I said, by the time my first tour came around and was ending, a lot of people started either getting out or getting other orders elsewhere. So I was like, man, I kind of just want to go back to the East Coast, you know what I'm saying? And didn't really work out in my favor, so I just decided to get out at that time. But I had signed up for 5 years. But at the time when we signed up, you were signing up for an obligatory 8 years. But if you got out after your initial 5, you had to be an inactive reserve for those 3 years after that. And I was like, I'll take my chances, because if you're in that inactive reserve, you can still get called back in, if some other kind of conflict pops up or whatever, because I do know a couple of guys who got out and then they got called back in to serve and went straight overseas, and you're not necessarily going to get called back to do the job that you were trained for. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though he was in aviation, he went to work. I think he got called back and he was over there in either Kuwait or Qatar. I can't remember. But he was basically an MP, a gate guard. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, I'll take my chances just being an inactive reserve. I'm just get out and go back home to North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? But ironically so, I ended up going overseas anyway after I got out. But I went as a civilian contractor working for KBR, which before that was known as Halliburton. So I went over there and worked as an MWR coordinator in the gyms. And for those who don't know, maybe prior military people who might be watching this, they know what MWR is. It stands for Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. And it encompasses a whole scheme of things. My particular job was I worked in the fitness centers. I worked the desk, handed out towels, coordinated and put together like flag football leagues, weightlifting competitions, basketball leagues, stuff like that. That's what we did. Basically, we gave the soldiers and other civilian contractors a taste of normalcy, a taste of home out in the damn war zone. You know what I'm saying? So the MWR out in Iraq and Afghanistan is a pretty important aspect of the entire experience for the soldiers, especially because you got to imagine these dudes are going out on patrol day in, day out. You know what I'm saying? Watching their homeboys possibly get blown up, shot in front of them, to be able to give them a taste of just regular shit. Hey man, come to the gym, you know what I'm saying, work out, get into this competition, you know what I'm saying, play in the damn dodgeball leagues, whatever. It gives them a sense of, hey man, we got a little bit of taste of home over here, you know what I mean? So that was cool to me. It made me feel. It made me feel good. It made me feel like I was actually helping some of these dudes. You know what I'm saying? And some of the soldiers would tell us that. You know what I'm saying? I was able to have a good rapport with quite a bit of number of soldiers in my because I worked at three different FOBs or bases or whatever you want to call it in Iraq. You know, my first stint I was in Mosul. Second time I was in Bakuba at FOB Warhorse, and then my third stint was it was a short stint right before a lot of the right before the contract started ending with KBR and the military being over there. Last stint was in I don't know if I'm saying it right. I think it's Iskandaria province. I think the father's name was Kalzu. They called it the zoo. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? I had that was a dope experience for me. Not only because it allowed me to help my family significantly financially, but it was just a good experience all around because that was a job that actually gave me a sense of like I'm actually helping people. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it was literally a customer service job, and I'm not even built for the customer service. I'm not a people person like that. I don't I don't normally like interacting with a lot of people like that, especially if it's my job. I don't, you know, but that was different because it wasn't like customer service here in the States where you're dealing with a bunch of people who just want to complain about this, trying to get some free shit or whatever. Customer's always right. Nah, fuck that. Customer ain't always right. I'm sorry. It's just not happening. Sometimes the customer's just a dick. But regardless, anyway, that it was a dope experience for me because I felt like I was actually helping a lot of people, just by supplying an avenue for them to, get some stress out. If they wanted to damn holler at me, you know what I'm saying? Shit, I had some nights where I sit there and chop it up with a soldier for a couple hours at my desk, you know what I'm saying? Dude would come in ready to work out, wouldn't even work out. He'd just be sitting there talking to me, you know what I mean? And if that helped him, cool, you know what I'm saying? So it was a dope job, you know what I'm saying? And on top of that, I got fucking swole myself because I worked in the gym. So I'd get off work and work out for a couple hours every day. And I worked 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts, you know, straight until I worked enough days to be able to be cleared to, go home for a couple of weeks before I came back. So, excuse me. It was a dope experience, you know what I'm saying? But it all stemmed from joining the Navy. I would have never got that job if it wasn't for me first off being in the Navy and my homeboy Al, when he got out shortly before I did, he started working in Iraq maybe a year before he convinced me to come out there to join him, you know what I'm saying? So it was all in all good experience, man. Being in the military and then working with the military shortly after I got out, you know what I mean? But it's something that I couldn't tell anyone to do or not do, because that joining the military is definitely something that you have to find out for yourself. You know what I mean? It could be a good experience for some people, be a bad one for others. You know what I'm saying? I would have never expected to even join the military. I put it to you like this: when I told my family I was joining the military, like I kind of got it kind of surprised me because like my mom was like, she's like, you joining the military? She's like, you kind of got a issue with authority like that, and I'm I'm like, Mom, what you saying? You know what I'm saying? I ain't no damn delinquent. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never been in trouble like that. But I do have a penchant for. I will voice my opinion if I feel like I'm getting wrong, or if a situation is just off to me. I will usually say something about it. You know what I'm saying? Nothing might happen, but I'm gonna say something about it. So I guess that's what she was kind of telling me. But when she said that, I was kind of like, damn, Ma, you trying to say like I'm out here, being a straight delinquent? But it was funny. Now my pops, I didn't know until afterward, like a few years later, that because my mom was like, yeah, your dad's real proud that you joined the military, because my pops was in the army for a couple years back in 50s or 60s. I'm not 60s. He was in that in between Korea and Vietnam. You know what I'm saying, like era. Because my pops was born in what 43. So he was kind of in that maneuvering. He didn't really have to. He didn't get sent nowhere. You know what I mean? I think my pops was in Fort Jackson, worked on tanks or something like that. But the fact that I joined the military, I guess he never came out and said it to me like that. But my mom told me that like he was proud of me joining. So that made a brother feel good a little bit. You know what I mean? So, but still, like ultimately, joining the military is one of them things that you just have to figure out or find out for yourself if you would like it or not. But in saying that, I do believe that the military is probably one of the better options for people coming out of high school who really have no clue, and I mean no clue, what they want to do with their life. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely tell somebody to go to the military before I tell them to go to college. I swear to God, I'd say that. Because you ain't gonna come out of the military with debt. Well, I mean, not saying you won't, but you ain't gonna come out of the military with student loan type debt. You know what I mean? So, but you might come out of the military with a knowledge that, hey, I want to continue this, or I learned some things about myself that are pushing me towards the direction that I want to go to. You know what I'm saying? You're going to come out of the military with at least some options in your head that what you might want to do. You know? And if I put more thought into it while I was in, you know what I'm saying? Or, didn't make so many excuses for myself, I probably would have either stayed in for at least another 3 to 5 years, or would have chose to pursue something further in the aviation field. Even though I did try a few aviation type jobs after I got out, but I was on some, I ain't really feeling this, you know what I'm saying? I never took any job serious enough where I'm like, could I do this for the next 10 to 20 years? I didn't do that because I was always, in my mind, I was always just trying to get another job that just paid better. But, but like I said, I would definitely not tell anyone to go or not to go to the military, but I would let them know I would choose that option over college 10 times out of 10. Unless you know you want to be a lawyer or a doctor. And you know that. That's the only way I would tell somebody to go to college over anything else. But, military, trade school, or just start working, any of those options over college. Unless, you want to go to community college, it's a lot cheaper, you know what I'm saying? You at least might be able to, you might be able to pay for community college out your own pocket and do something like that, Because community college is pretty much, could be a trade school too, you know what I'm saying? Go learn how to weld or something like that, you know what I mean? So, all in all, my military career was a positive in my life. So, that's my little story time of why I joined the military and all that. You know what I'm saying? I know I didn't get into too much detail, or I kind of went everywhere, but I just wanted to tell at least the reason why I joined, and the the effect it had on me from being in the military and then working with the military after I got out a few years. You know what I'm saying? So all in all, it was definitely a positive experience for me. For me, and that's the important thing. For me, it was a positive experience. You know what I'm saying? I got to see a lot of places I definitely know I wouldn't have seen without it. And I made some lifelong friends. Although I don't speak to all of them all the time, we still definitely keep in contact. You know what I'm saying? So it can definitely benefit you to join. You know what I'm saying? But this ain't no promo for the military and all that. I'm just telling you my story about the military. All right? That's all it is for today. I'll holler at y'all.